use PropStream to find on-market deals for yourself if you're an investor or for clients. And there's also a strategy here to use this as a way to get more clients as well. And so that's part of what I want to brainstorm and mastermind around as we dig into this. This is a follow-up to a great question that came at the end of one of our masterminds the last couple of weeks from Fernando Mendoza. We had Burton, the lead trainer at PropStream, on sharing some of the updates and upgrades and the AI components that PropStream has added. And he asked that question, can we use this to find on-market deals as well? And so I've been procrastinating on creating a video around that. And then I figured, let's just do a whole session on it, because I think that would be valuable and useful for everyone. So again, we're going to dig into how to use PropStream to find on-market deals for yourself or clients, or even to use it as a way to attract more clients or potential clients, and demonstrate value to them and differentiate yourself amongst other agents in your marketplace. If you haven't used PropStream or checked out PropStream, you can get, and I would recommend that you get a free trial at growwithjosh.com/PS, growwithjosh.com/PS. I believe that one of the, as I was thinking through this and planning this and making some notes, I believe what we're going to share today is one of the best uses of your trial period within PropStream. In other words, I think what we're going to dig into today, when you get a free trial, this is like the first thing that you might play around with, because I think it's one of the fastest paths to actually, closed commissions for you using the data source. If you have no idea what PropStream is, we've had several sessions recently on these masterminds. You can find those replays in the group. You can also find them at wakeup.realestate. If you're struggling to find those, just reach out to me, DM me, call, text me, whatever, email, and I'll get you those. But we've had their lead trainer on twice over the last couple of months. I did a session about a month ago on demographic circle prospecting, and the work that we did in that session is already creating opportunities for me that I'm excited about in the first quarter of 2025. So lots on this, but this to me is maybe the lowest hanging fruit for many of you if you're using PropStream. Maybe you've used it in the past and it's time to come back and check it out again, or maybe you never have, and this may be a great way to introduce yourself to the tool. So, James, I'm going to volunteer you to, if you could monitor the chat so that I don't miss questions or things of that nature that might be relevant. And I'm going to do my best to also keep an eye on the comments in the group on the live stream as well, which again, do me a huge favor, hit the thumbs up if you're watching the live stream in the group. Before I get started, I'm going to drop two things in the chat for those of you that are live in the Zoom room. If you're in the group and you want to join us in the Zoom room, you can go to wakeup.realestate/MM. So I'm going to share this document, which just has all of my recommended resources, tools, software, etc., that I'm personally using to sell more real estate, to do more loans and take more listings and help more buyer clients. And one of those on there is, in fact, PropStream. So I'm going to log into my account now. And we're going to dig into using PropStream to find on-market deals that are currently listed in your MLS. Now, the value in this to me is the fact that PropStream provides data that you won't readily find in your MLS, at least to my knowledge and my experience. In other words, there is data that we can filter for that I can't in Bright MLS, for example, which is the MLS we have here in the Mid-Atlantic area. So anytime you're using PropStream, you have to start with a geographic target. It can be county, it can be city, it can be zip code. Now, you can look at a specific property, and that is a great way to use it as well. In fact, one of the things that we often do for clients when they're considering a property, either to maybe to look at it, but certainly if they're considering making an offer, is we'll pull the detailed info sheet, property sheet from PropStream. So in that case, I'm going to put in the specific address. But what we're doing today, we need to start with a target area. And for those of you that don't know, I'm in central Pennsylvania. I live in Cumberland County, PA, fastest growing county in the state, population-wise, but still pretty rural. And our total population is under 300,000. And for those of you that want to send us referrals, we cover Cumberland County, Dauphin County, Perry County, York County, and the surrounding areas to that as well. Anyway, we're not a very population dense area. So for me, I'm going to start with the entire county just for demonstration purposes. But for you, you may want to start with a specific zip code or a specific city, especially if you have you're doing this on behalf of a client and they have a target, area or zip code or city that they're looking for. The other thing you can do, and this is useful when looking for a specific client or for yourself if you're looking in a specific area, you can search. You can do a polygon search. So I could draw an image on the screen here. If I go to this little pencil up here, I can draw whatever I want. Okay. So you can do that and hit search, and now you've got that as a search area. And you can get very specific with that. And I have used that tool to draw like a specific township area or a specific neighborhood. In fact, that's how I built the list for the demographic circle prospecting call that we did a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So you can do that, but I'm going to go ahead and choose the entire county so that we have enough data that, we'll get to see some of these different ideas in practical application here. So when I choose the whole county, notice unique properties, 103,970. That's all of the unique properties in the county. Okay. But that's not relevant to what we're talking about today. So the very first thing I'm going to do, and this is actually contrary to most of the other training that we've done on PropStream. So when I'm building a list for demographic circle prospecting, or if I want to build a list of absentee owners that I want to market to or to prospect to, or if I'm building a list of folks that might be looking to downsize, right? They're living in a 2-story home. They've lived there for 20 plus years, et cetera. The first thing I always do is exclude on-market properties. But we're going the other way today. We want to identify the on-market properties. So the very first thing that we're going to do after we choose the geographic area is under filters, okay? Under filters, which once again is, I'll just show it. It's top middle. I'm going to choose filter. And the very first place I'm going to go is MLS. Okay, so I click on MLS and I'm going to choose yes to on market. I'm going to choose listing type for sale because I don't really care about the rental properties. And then I also want to choose active because I don't want the pending or the contingent or I suppose active under contract, maybe. I don't want the coming soon. Maybe I do want the coming soon. So I'll choose active and I'll choose coming soon for this, for our purposes here. So right away, okay, look right up here in the orange, right away, I'm down to 320 properties. 320 properties in the whole county. Okay. Again, we're not very population dense here in the beautiful Cumberland County. And I say that truthfully. Like when I look out my front window, I have a beautiful little mountain range that I get to look at. Anyway, so we're choosing on market, yes. We're choosing for sale, yes. And then we're choosing active. And I also chose coming soon. But I don't want the pending. I don't want the contingent. I don't want those other filters. That said, one little side note. I'm going to do a session in the first quarter on how we can use these for expired, canceled, withdrawn, etc. Okay, so topic for another session, but that information, that data is here as well. Okay, so I've got active, I've got coming soon. I have a list of 6 different filters that I'm going to talk through and walk us through here that might be relevant depending on the situation, depending on what the client is looking for or what you may be looking for if you're your own client in this scenario. Okay. Now, in your MLS, you can search or filter for days on market. You could search or filter for if the property has had a price reduction. And that's an easy way to identify potentially motivation, right? If you can go in there and find properties that have been listed for, greater than 30 days, greater than 60 days, greater than 90 days, and they've had multiple price reductions, that's an indicator of motivation, potentially. But we want to go way beyond that, right? Because, why pay for a tool if you can do it, the same thing for free right in your MLS? So the first thing I want to highlight here is this filter of listed below market value, okay? This tool right here, listed below market value. So if I choose yes on that, okay? If I select yes on that, it cut down my list from 320 to 161. So it cut it in half. That's neither here nor there, but it's interesting. It's informative, if nothing else. I would still recommend that you verify that information before you just go blindly send it to a client. In other words, if you build a list for a client, you're probably also going to want to personally look at those deals a little bit to see if it checks out, because automated value models, AVMs, which is what is being used here, there are flaws in those. So just selecting this alone, may or may not be useful or helpful. But one of the many things that I love about PropStream is we can layer on filters. Okay, we can have this beautiful sort of layering process of this plus this plus this plus this, and then we can get a really targeted list. So I've got 161 properties that are listed below market value. So below market value, that's one of the 6 filtering options that I wanted to share and cover in this session today for you to utilize and play around with if you're using PropStream currently, or when you get your free trial, growwithjosh.com/PS. Now, you could also, and Burton mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, you can filter by MLS keywords, but you can do that right in your MLS. In fact, I have a saved search in my MLS that has, if any of this, a whole set of words, phrases are mentioned, I get my own update every morning so I can stay in tune with, if it says as is or handyman special or investor special or probate or estate. I've got a whole list of those. By the way, if you want that list of those keywords, just shoot me a DM or I'll add that, include that with the replay of this. But again, you can do that right in your MLS. So not really, I don't want to spend too much time on that here. But there are 6, of which one is the listed below market value. The next one that I thought I would highlight, which is part of the update or the upgrade that PropStream made back in early November, which is, and now I have to find it because I'm still getting used to it here, which is, it is.
Hey, Josh.
PropStream Intelligence. There we go. Sorry. It was right above the field that I was. There's a couple of different things here that I want to, of the 6 total filtering criteria that are relevant. So the first one that I want to highlight here is foreclosure factor. foreclosure factor. Go ahead, James.
Can you hear us? Do you have your mic on?
Whoops, sorry, I had my audio muted. Go ahead, James.
Shay said, have you used the foreclosure tool in PropStream Intelligence? It's
so
awesome.
I'm just starting to use it, right? Because it's only been available for like 5 or 6 weeks. My guess is Shay is already playing with it because Shay is a massive action taker and is great. And here's a way that you can use it. What's that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell everybody about it, but it's awesome. I've been having all kinds of fun with this, jumping in, trying to get at people before they get their notice of default, before they get blown up by 8,000 agents trying to sell their house.
Yep.
Getting a jump on it a couple weeks before to grow that, trust and rapport. So when it comes to that, you're already in touch with them. I'll let you tell them about it. I don't mean to get ahead, but I'm having massive success. I'm really loving this.
Yeah. So Burton did talk briefly about that as one of the updates or upgrades that have recently been released. And it sounds like Shay is using that to connect with and get in front of people before they list their property or sell to an investor. And that is a great strategy. But today we're talking about finding on-market deals. So this is another way that you could filter or layer on filters to dwindle down and identify who of these on-market listings, these on-market sellers, where there might be motivation or higher than normal motivation. So the first one was below value. If I go to foreclosure factor here, they have ranges anywhere from very low to very high. And I'm not going to go into how they, what their algorithm is and all of that today. You can find that on their website. Burton talked about it briefly a couple of weeks ago when he was on. I think he was on 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to dig into that now. All you need to know for now is like that they've got it dialed in, and it is, it's the data is relevant and seems to be fairly accurate. So if I choose high to very high, we've got one property. One. If I choose medium high, we still have one. Medium low. Now we've got 4. Okay. So again, it's a matter of playing with the filters and finding what works. So I'm just going to look at these 3 properties here. So it's interesting. This one last sold in 2021, 2019, 2008. And this one must have been in Cumberland County. If it sold before 2000, I think oftentimes this is blank, or there could be something else going on there. Okay. So I mentioned that there are 6 filters or strategies with PropStream that I wanted to cover with identifying these on-market listings. Number 1 was the below market value filter. Number 2 was that foreclosure factor. And again, foreclosure factor. So you start with MLS on the left-hand side, start with MLS. Okay. That's where you'll find on market, for sale, active, and coming soon, which is what I had selected. And then that's also where you'll find the listed below market value. Okay. But then for the foreclosure factor, we need to go to PropStream Intelligence, PropStream Intelligence. Now I'm going to remove these. Okay. I'm going to remove these. Now we went back up to 161 properties. Okay. 161 properties. Maybe I want to find or identify some potential fixer-uppers, potential fixer-uppers. And this is another great recent upgrade to PropStream, which is that they are now using artificial intelligence with listed properties or properties where there are photos of the property. They're using artificial intelligence to identify properties that may be in need of repair, or let's say like below standard condition. Okay. So I'm going to choose from disrepair to poor and see what we get here. Disrepair to poor. We've got 8 properties. Now, why? Maybe, okay. So if I choose disrepair to good, it's interesting. You got to just kind of play around with these. Disrepair to average, 33. But if I go disrepair to 4, I've got 8 properties. This is potentially 8 fixer-uppers. Here's this is interesting. And this verifies, to me, the accuracy of this tool, at least to some degree. This is a property that I identified manually in my MLS yesterday morning as I was looking for my opportunity of the week to send to my email list. And it is, this property is most definitely a fixer-upper. It's also potentially a short sale. Looking at some of these other properties, that one's probably showing up because it's very old. It's over 200 years old. And this is another one that I had identified yesterday as I was kind of manually looking for a good deal. Okay. So the 6 different filtering: below market value, foreclosure factor, condition, right? This is, this tool will help you work more efficiently and effectively. Could you find these manually in your MLS? Sure. I'm sure you could. But it's going to take you a lot longer if you have to go one by one or utilize other strategies. Okay. All right. So I've got 3 more that I want to share, and then I want to open it up to brainstorm, mastermind, and for feedback, questions, et cetera, et cetera. If you have questions or feedback and you're watching in the live stream, just drop a comment. I'm doing my best to monitor those as well. And if you're finding this helpful and useful, give me a thumbs up there as well. Okay, so 3 more that I want to dig into. The next one is owner information. Owner information. Let's see how many are non-owner occupied. Non-owner occupied. So 78, according to this, 78 are non-owner occupied. Non-owner occupied. But I can get a little bit more granular here with this as well, which I think is interesting and useful. I want non-owner occupied individual owners. Now I've got 35 properties, and I want them to be out of the area. And I'm going to choose out of state, out of county. And, oh, look at that. There's still 35 of them. Out of state, out of county. Let me just verify here that that's accurate. Nope, it's still, it's thinking. It's thinking. And you'll find that happens sometimes depending on the filtering, the layering of the filters, that sometimes that it can cause it to have to think a little bit. I'm going to deselect all. Let me see if I can get back to.
Josh, Celeste asks if it's recorded because she's got.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yep. All of these always are. I don't know what happened here. Let me refresh. I think I don't know if it was the number of filters or what the criteria was, but this will be helpful for those that hopped on late. So we're gonna start over here. I'm choosing Cumberland County. I'm going to filter. I'm going MLS, yes on market, yes for sale. I'm choosing active. I'm choosing coming soon. And I had chosen listed below market price. That took me from any, which was 320, to 161. But you know what? For this, I'm going to actually go back to any, meaning all of the listed properties, and I'm going to go back down to owner information and occupancy, and I'm going to choose non-owner occupied. So 163 are showing as non-owner occupied. If I choose individual, right? So I don't, that takes out the corporate ownership. And for me, what that means, or what would be included in that, is Cumberland County has a lot of new construction. So, of those 320, I don't know, half of them might be new construction properties. So when I choose individual, I'm removing those new construction homes, for whatever that's worth. Now I've got it. So according to this, in the county that I selected, there are currently 73 properties that are on the market that are non-owner occupied, that are owned individually by one or more individuals. And let's see if I can, now it worked. Now I've got 15 out of county or out of state. What that means is the mailing address for the individual owner is either out of state, not Pennsylvania, or not in Cumberland County. Now it might be just, a neighboring county or whatever. But that is useful and helpful information. So I've got 15 of those. 15 of those that these could be ripe for an offer. And also, if you look here, which is actually the next criteria I was going to use, they've got a lot of equity. They've got a lot of equity. Okay. So some foreshadowing. I told you I was going to share 6 different filtering options that I think are great ways for you to identify on-market deals. It was listed below market value, the foreclosure factor, condition, ownership type, specifically looking for absentee owners. The next one is equity. Okay. Why is equity important? Well, if they've got a lot of equity, they're at least the possibility that they might accept a lower than list price offer, right? If they don't have equity, they might not be able to, because they might not have the money, the cash to bring to settlement. So I'm going to go back to choosing any here. So I'm going to remove all of this. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave individually owned. So that gives us 228. And I'm going to go to value and equity. And you can choose whatever you want here. You could say a minimum of 20% equity. That's 190 properties. You could say a minimum of 50% equity. Maybe I want a minimum, maybe I want 100%. There are 93 current active listings where there's no mortgage on the property. Why is that relevant? Well, I mean, it could be relevant for any number of reasons. Maybe you're a creative real estate investor. Or, it could mean that if they've been, so I've got 93 here, right? I've got 93 here. Maybe I want to search for how many of these 93 have been on the market for at least 90 days. 26. So 26 properties that have been on the market for at least 90 days, and they are free and clear. Free and clear, owned free and clear. I mean, that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. So that's 5 out of the 6. The last one I wanted to share, and then I want to open it up to brainstorm and mastermind and for thoughts or ideas here. The last one I wanted to share, and I'm going to clear out some of this other info. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove the 90-day requirement, which was MLS. The last one that I wanted to share, I'm going to go to mortgage. Okay. And there are a couple of different ways that you could use the mortgage info filter. Number one, you could use it to identify where there might be a possible assumption. So I could choose FHA and VA. Yeah, USDA isn't an option here, but I could choose FHA and VA. And now we've got 16 properties that might be, assumable or assumption opportunities. Again, might be. Maybe you also want, if we're going to look for, possible assumptions, we want to have a low rate, right? Wouldn't be worth going through the hassle if the rate is going to be similar to what you could get on the open market. But I've got 8 of them here that are FHA or VA with an interest rate at 4% or lower. Interesting and useful. But there's other ways I think that you could use this information as well, in that maybe they have multiple open mortgages. So we've got 228. Do they have 3? 4 of them have 3 open mortgages. 20 of them have 2 open mortgages. What else might cause motivation? Well, an adjustable or variable rate. That might cause them to be motivated. They bought a house with a 3% mortgage, theoretically, and now their mortgage or their interest rate is 5.5%, 6.5%, maybe 7%. Who knows? Again, could mean higher motivation. Could mean higher motivation. No guarantees, obviously, but that might mean that. Okay, so those 6 criteria, and there may be others. That's just what I came up with. you know, in prepping for this. Below market value, keep in mind that is based upon AVMs. AVMs. It may or may not be accurate. You probably want to, if you're doing this for a client and you're trying to get them a little targeted list of maybe 3 to 5 properties, I would maybe verify and check some of the different AVMs. You might play up, maybe you find one is below the Zestimate. You know, good, bad, or ugly. Some people put stock in what those estimates mean. And you can play up to the client potentially, hey, listen, this is below the Zestimate value. Here's why else I think this is relevant. If you've got a client that needs seller help, okay, because they can afford the payment, but they don't have a lot of assets for that. If there is a delta in between what it's listed and what you believe it might sell for, you might be able to bump the price to get seller help and put a deal together where it might not otherwise happen. And I bring that up because we've used that strategy several times this year and over the last many years to put together deals where people, for clients that don't have a lot of funds available or are very tight on what they need, closing costs plus down payment. So that's one below market value. Number 2, using the PropStream intelligence foreclosure factor. Number 3, the PropStream intelligence condition. Number 4, looking for absentee owners, non-owner occupied, and maybe even layering on out of county, out of state. Number 4, looking for equity position. That was number 5. And number 6, potentially looking for assumable mortgages or using mortgage info as another filter or criteria for trying to identify potential motivation. What did I miss? What are the thoughts, questions, or ideas? I do see that we've got some things in the chat, and I'm gonna Shay, yep, the foreclosure. What is the best strategy to identify below market values with minimal effort? My man, we got that. I'm only able to, yeah, and Celeste, yes, all of these are recorded. They are available immediately after in the Wake Up Real Estate group. And then they go to the YouTube channel and wakeup.realestate as well. So you'll be able to check that out in more detail. Questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas as it relates to this?
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the intelligence, how is it find? Like, for example, you were doing the fixer-uppers, the search, right? Is the intelligence taking the data off the MLS, or is it actually looking at each picture and determining this property needs work? Do you know?
Yeah, so their AI is actually scanning the pictures.
Okay.
To identify it is how do we, like, it's going to be flawed in some cases, right? Because it's artificial intelligence. But the more data they filter through, because I forget what Burton said, but you know, it can't possibly do it for every listed property all at once, right? So they're kind of working their way through data, and as new data, you know, new listings hit, they've got to do that as well. And the more data that the AI works through, the better it will become. But like, it's a good starting place. But
right.
To answer your specific question, is that the artificial intelligence is actually like scanning the pictures and looking for indicators of condition.
Got it. Is that true with all the other data sets? Like for your other examples, I guess what it's doing is just now it's doing all the hard work, all the tedious hard work for you is what it sounds like.
So this is a bit of a side note, but not really. We have been for the last year inundated with AI this, AI that, and a whatever. And I do believe AI will change the way we all work. But I also believe There's a lot of hype and hyperbole, etc. And it's hard to see the forest through the trees as to like, how do we use this to actually help more clients? This is a very tangible, tactical way that we can use AI through PropStream to be more efficient and effective, right? To save us some time. And that's what I would look at when you're evaluating AI tools and AI training and AI this, that, and the other thing. Like, is there, does this directly create a path for me to be more effective and efficient and sell more houses, right? Or help more clients. Like, and this is, to me, this is one of the more practical applications of AI that I've seen since, Chat GPT, stormed the scene a year ago or a little over a year ago. Mark Ilderton, how do we get contact information of the owner? So that's a good question. Now, with the on-market listings, we're not gonna go around the listing agents, right? I'm not advocating that. So in that scenario, you're going to follow normal protocol. But if you were, or when you are, to use a strategy like what Shay had brought up, where and actually, rather than me talk theoretically, I'm going to go back into the tool here. So I'm breaking off topic a little bit here in that, the topic today was on-market deals, but let's pivot to how we might use the tool to find off-market deals. And then I'll tie that in, Mark, to your question about how do we get contact information for the property owners. So in this scenario, I'm going to choose the zip code that I live in. I'm going to choose the zip code that I live in, 17025. And I'm going to go to filters, which, by the way, I cleared all of the current filters. So 17025, there are 7,532 properties. I'm going to go to MLS. In this scenario, though, because I don't want to solicit on-market listings, I'm going to choose not on the market. Okay, so that's the first thing I do. It took, 30 properties off of the list there. I'm going to go to property details. I want to find residential properties that are single family or condos or townhomes. So I've got 6352. Now I want to use artificial intelligence. Specifically, instead of AI, I'm using PI or PSI, which also stands for something else. But in this case, I'm talking about PropStream intelligence. And I'm going to choose foreclosure factor. And I'm going to say high to very high, 198. Oh, maybe I'll just choose very high. 90. All right, perfect. So I've got 90 properties. Okay, I've got 90 properties. They're listed here on the right-hand side. I can save these properties. So I can select all and I can add them to a list and create new. And I'm going to call this 17025 residential very high foreclosure, and today's date, which is, 18th. Sounds right. 2024. I'm going to save that. So now I've got a list of all of those properties. And if I go to the left-hand side here and I go to contacts and I go to, is it under groups? No, I'm sorry. I go to the left-hand side here and I go to my properties, not contacts, my properties. And that is now a marketing list. So I can go and find the list that I just saved. If my eyes, oh, here we go. So these are the 90 properties. So what I have now is the property address, and I have the property owner, if there are one or two, and I have the mailing address if it's different than the property address. If I want email and or phone numbers, I've got to use the skip trace function, and there is an extra cost for that. So I'll walk you through what that looks like. But at a minimum, I could take this information and I could send out direct mail. We've got some postcards and letters that we have proof are working to get people engaging. But if I want to go a step farther and I want to email and I want to call or text or all of the above, what I can do right in the tool here is I can go on the left-hand side, I can choose skip tracing, and it is 12 cents per record. Now you can export the data and you could use some other skip trace service if you choose. I prefer, even if I'm paying a little bit more, I prefer this because of ease, convenience, and speed. I mean, all of the above. But you can certainly do whatever you choose with it. Now, you will only pay if PropStream is able to append data. In other words, I'll go through the process here, and then I'll talk through the worst case scenario. So I'm going to say select contacts, and now I've got to go find my list again. For some reason, they call it different things. They call it favorites here, but they call it marketing lists otherwhere in the other spot. Where's my list of 17025? Here it is. So I've got my 90. I'm going to add the selected contacts. I'm going to select them here again. I'm going to click done. I'm going to click next. And so for $10.32, which is the most I will pay, that's if PropStream is able to append all of the 86, and it's 86 because it is noted here that 4 have been omitted due to being duplicates. I will pay $10.32 to have appended data, and it will also scrub against the DNC. And I personally, if they're on the DNC, I don't call them, I don't text them. I might send them direct mail, I might still email them, but if they're on the DNC, or if that number's on the DNC, we scrub it from the list after we pay for it. A list size of this size, you'll literally have the skip trace data in a matter of minutes, so that was a long-winded answer, Mark, to your question. But that's how I use it. Now, Shay, are you, so you're using the foreclosure factor, PropStream Intelligence. Are you skip tracing lists, or how are you using that? Because you opened Pandora's box there, and I'm sure some others are curious. How are you using that to actually get into conversation with those folks? Like, what are the steps you're following with that?
Absolutely. First off, for those of you that haven't heard me rail about PropStream, I am an absolute PropStream fanboy. I didn't know about it, and there was a thing that Josh put on, and on my free trial, I ended up having some success right off the bat, and I use it every single week, multiple times. But to get to your question, with this, I mean, a lot of people are doing notice of defaults, and I market to notice of defaults as well because they are ramping up substantially, unfortunately, because of the economy of the last while, and people are in trouble. But I figured everybody's doing that, and I'm odd lot theory for sure. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I'd rather stand out. So when we're on that training, what was it 3 weeks ago?
2 or 3, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Whatever it was, we went over that training, and he was talking about the AI, the PropStream intelligence, and it looking at the probability of someone going into foreclosure. And I figured, even if it's flawed, because of course it's going to be at some point, even if it's flawed, the chances of me getting out to people that find themselves in this place are huge, and I can beat the rush of everybody. Oh, you're on the notice of default. Like, they don't know. They got it on their door. They get it, and it's a tough thing. Okay. And it's very hard to start marketing people when they're in a very, hurt, scared mindset because they're worried about losing their house, how it affects their family and stuff like that. So what I'm doing is I'm talking to them a couple weeks beforehand saying, hey, how's it going? This is where this is what the value is on their house. I put them in HomeBot because I'm a HomeBot fan too, and start marketing them and talking to them. by the time if they get a notice of default, I've already been building rapport with them. And when it happens, I'm the heir apparent because I've already been, offering things to them and trying to help them out. And if they don't ever go to notice of default, first, great, good for them. I don't wish that on anybody. But second, I'm just building rapport with somebody else. I use this all the time, just like I started marketing list. And yes, to answer your other question, I do, as soon as I put the list in, I skip trace it and get all the information. And like you, if they're on the do not disturb list, then I won't touch anything to do with it. I just get rid of it completely. I don't email them, I don't text them, anything like that. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, I don't reach out to them in any way, shape, or form, and just continue to move forward and try and help them where I can.
So, William, you asked a great question. Do you know what gets someone on that high foreclosure list? I'm going to share from PropStream their little blurb on that in a second, but I want to connect as many dots as possible. So Shay will go in, he'll build a list or audience in PropStream. It might be by a you might select the geography, right, with the pencil tool, right? You might draw it, you might choose it by zip code, you might choose it by city. Any number of ways. You're using foreclosure factor as a component of that. You're skip tracing, and then you're marketing to that audience in multiple ways, doing your best to lead with value and build relationship and rapport. Now, pre-foreclosure data has been in PropStream forever. The problem is everybody's hitting up that data, right? Like once it's that, like you're just, it's like competing against everyone else in your market on FSBO and Expire, right? Like everybody's hitting that same audience. And so there is a little window with this where if you can get in ahead of that, there's opportunity. So,
and thank you for that. Sorry, I broke focus. Yes, I absolutely do it by geographic location, and I try and keep it fairly small because with what I'm doing with the pre-foreclosures, I'm also putting in what's going on in the market and being hyper focused with my marketing and my message, not just for what pre-foreclosures, because I'm not telling them that they show up on this list, but being hyper focused on their area, what's going on in their area, so they know that I'm the market expert and the knowledge broker at that point. So thank you for that. I got a little distracted.
Yeah. This is a cliche that I say often, but it is relevant, and it like it's one of, to me, the most important marketing concepts, especially for what we do, which is Shay is going an inch wide and a mile deep.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not trying to go very surface level with his entire county. He's taking a small audience. Shay, what when you do that, is it 50? Is it 100? Is it, I mean, what
I try to
size of a
do,
list?
and as with everything, because I'm special like that, I learn from screwing it up the first time.
I mean, yeah, that's everybody.
So I try and keep it to 50 a day, because at one point I think it was 1,000. And I sent something out to 1,000 people and couldn't even come close to trying to respond correctly to all the incoming. And then it just shows that it's inauthentic, it's garbage. I looked like garbage and I had egg on my face. So I personally do 50 a day. And what I do is also, in concert with HomeBot, I'll send a HomeBot valuation, and then 48 hours later, I will send them either a call or a video text saying, "Hey Josh, I sent you a valuation on 123 Maple Street out there, and I wanted to make sure that you'd had a chance to look at that and make sure that that's accurate." With that approach, keeping it, like you said, an inch wide, a mile deep, it's very it comes off as very authentic because I want to be authentic. They're not just a number to me, and I want to make sure that they have a very personalized service for them, and they know exactly, if they ask me a question, like if I get a call, hey Shay, I got this today. With 50, there's a good chance I can remember, be like, oh, now, what's your name? And that's terrible rapport and business. So
So
50 a day.
50 a day for you might seem like an impossibility. Start with 5 a day. Start with 10 a day, right? You could pull your list on Monday of 50, and maybe you don't hit all 50 on Monday. You hit 10 a day for the week, right? Like you don't let that, confuse you or overwhelm you. Like start small, get comfortable, create your own winning process for it. And one thing I'll highlight there that Shay is not utilizing direct mail. He's using strategies that by and large are free, right? He's using email, he's using the phone, he's using text messages. I mean, HomeBot, there's a little cost to that, and he's sending video messages. There might be a little cost for that, but like generally speaking, it's not something that costs a lot beyond the data. And 50,
I'm in at like $50 a month for everything else, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and Shay, just for context, I'm not bragging on Shay here, but Shay sells on average more than a house a week on average over a year. Is that fair?
I really appreciate you bragging on me because my ego loves that. So no, I do pretty well. It's not bad at all. This year I'm on track for 75. So that's not bad. I can handle that. That ends your meeting, but it works.
No, so I'd say that to highlight the fact that this is not someone who is theorizing what might work if you want to sell more houses in 2025. This is someone that is doing it and has been successfully doing it for quite a while. It's also not the only way he did those 75 deals. It is one of many pillars of his business, because to do 75 deals, it's not, there's very few, if any, scenarios that you're going to get 75 deals from one pillar in a calendar year. That comes from having multiple pillars.
Anything that you do, as long as you put consistency into it, you're going to find some success. Find something that fits for you, that makes you comfortable, and that you can really, get into a good conversation with, and own it. Some people make a ton of money on mailers. It's one thing that I've never done. By all means, guys, if you guys are doing anything with AI and chat bots and things like that, be very careful with the new TCPA rules. Make sure that you check to make sure that you're compliant, because that can be really bad. But just do something that works for you, and just be consistent with it.
Yep. Sorry, circling back, I had it up on the screen here, but circling back to William's question. So it's a little bit vague, but the foreclosure factor utilizes a variety of data and AI-empowered algorithms to determine propensity scores for individual properties where mortgages exist to predict a property's likelihood of going into default. The value, or the grading scale, is from very low to very high on a scale of 1 to 100. Like that's the scale that they are using for it. The higher the score, the more likely the property will default in the next 12 months, using various non-personal factors, including tax info, income sources, home values, loan structure, and homeowner behavior. So to me, that screams, you don't need to know exactly how it works, just that it does work. And also understand that you're playing a long game. You might get lucky every once in a while and hit one out of the park right up front, but it said over the next 12 months. So, and that's the way I would caution or recommend you all look at strategies like this. Not what can I get today or this week or this month or even this quarter from this strategy. What can I get over the next 12 to 36 months through this strategy? Because Shay has an ever-growing database of people that can recognize his name, recognize the fact that he sells real estate, and have gotten some kind of value from him in some way, shape, or form. that's what we do, right? That's the name of the game.
And the more things you put together, like Josh was saying, even if they're long term, you put one together, get really good at one thing, start doing it, and then slowly add in and get good at another thing. Even if they take time, after some point, after like 9, 12 months, things start dropping that you've all but forgotten about. And it's just, hey, cool, free money. Look at that. Just like referrals around the country and things like that, making sure to market, hey, I can help you anywhere in the country, in a couple different countries. All of a sudden you just get, hey, look, there's a check. Oh, well, that's nice. Okay, a little bit of extra money. It just makes things easy.
No doubt.
Easier. It's a tough market, but
Never
easier.
easy, but yeah, no doubt. So one last thing I'll mention with PropStream, I should have mentioned this at the beginning. If you go and get a trial, growwithjosh.com/PS, you can get a free like one-on-one onboarding call, either with someone on the PropStream team, or if you'd prefer with me, I'm happy to hop on Zoom with you as well. So if you go and get your trial, I can connect you to reach out to me, and if you prefer with them, I'll get you connected with who on their team can do it, or if you want to do that with me. And of course, if you're already using the tool, or you want to reactivate, you have been using it, whatever, and you'd like to do that, of course, we'll take care of you as well. Shoot me a DM, call or text me, send me an email. I'm happy to help with that. And transparently, I oftentimes get as much from those as I'm giving, because looking at different market data and hearing different perspectives from those that we do those kind of things with, like a different way of thinking about how to structure the filtering or whatever the case may be. So check that out, growwithjosh.com/PS. A few other housekeeping items before we come in for a landing here at the top of the hour. This is our last live mastermind of 2024, because the next 2 Wednesdays are Christmas and New Year's Day. And my wife would kill me. And none of you would want to be here if we did that. So we'll be back Wednesday, January 8th. That's the bummer. The good news, or the fun news, is the next couple of weeks I am going to use to be building out and inviting all of you in here and the community at large and the Facebook group, et cetera, to something cool and exciting that I am going to spearhead, that I think will make it easier, quicker, and faster for us to share what's working, resources that I have, et cetera. So just keep your eyes out on the Facebook group and in your email inbox for an invitation to that. All of these sessions are recorded. You can check out the replay in the group, Wake Up Real Estate, the Facebook group, Wake Up Real Estate. We get them added to the website, wakeup.realestate, on YouTube and on our podcast channel as well. Shay, thanks so much for sharing. James, thanks for your help as well.
Josh, one question.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
I saw on some of your list you created, I saw FSBO. Is PropStream a good source to get FSBOs from, in your opinion?
Is that in there? I don't know.
It's in there. I've never used it, but I've heard that, I know other people that have used it that said that it's timely and it's really easy to get the information when you're skip tracing it. So I've heard good things.
Where is that? Where's that filter?
You were going through your list of trying to find the one you had just created, and I saw, as you scrolled down, I saw the letters FSBO, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that they did that. So if you were looking for your list,
I wonder if they have an API to export that, like with My Plus Leads or RedX. That would be nice.
You had just created that list, which was for today.
Yeah.
And as you were scrolling back down after you created to locate it, I saw in one of your, as you're scrolling, the letter.
Well, Shay confirmed that it's there. I've never used it.
That's funny.
I've never used it, but I know that they have, of course, expireds, but I've heard that the for sale by owner is pretty good, and the information that you get out of it with skip tracing is better than they've found in other places. Again, I've never used it, but I've heard good things.
So Shay, what you're using is you're just going in early on the pre-foreclosures and trying to get that foreclosure data and targeting those people a couple of weeks before, a month before you think they're going to hit the NOD list.
In that aspect, yes, I use PropStream constantly. I'm in here all the time for abandoned properties, tired landlords, people with people that are 65 and older with a whole lot of equity,
Two-story home.
want to downsize, VA people that are likely to sell that can have people, take over their VA rate. I use this tool multiple times a week. This is one of the 3 tools that I use the very most in my business. I utilize this information constantly. I'm an absolute fanboy.
And Shay, on his trial, I think so when you're on trial, you have unlimited search capabilities, but you can only save, when I did that saving of 90 properties, you can only save 50 properties. If I remember correctly, while Shay was on trial, he built a list of 37 or 39, something like that. It was less than 50 absentee owners, which turned into multiple transactions. Because
it was tired landlords is what it was.
Okay.
And it turned into 3 contracts within that month. And honestly, coming back to it within 6 months, it ended up being, another 2. So there was 5 transactions total over a course of 6 months from that data. And that pretty much sealed that this is like
disclaimer, results not typical, blah, blah, blah. But,
what market are you in, Shay?
I'm in the Utah market.
Okay.
I'm in Salt Lake County, Utah County, things like that. Where are you at?
Houston.
Houston. All right. Very nice.
Fernando, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, so all this data is dropping into iList and Smarties deal or CRM, or what are we doing with this data that we're pulling from PropStream?
You can. Yeah, you can.
How's that?
I mean, there's no way to automate that, but you certainly can. And that's what I do is, for example, the demographic circle prospecting list that I had built a couple of weeks ago, which to me, like, what I think I'm going to do is like the top 5 best ways to utilize the PropStream data tool. And in that top 5 would be today's, and certainly demographic circle prospecting. And the thing that had me most excited about that is it wasn't my listing. I brought the buyer, and now I've already created none of it concrete. I haven't taken another listing or anything, but I've built out a pipeline of other potential listings in that neighborhood by leveraging that fact. And so I created that list. We skip traced the list. I sent direct mail, a postcard, a pending under contract postcard. I'm going to send a just sold postcard once we settle January 3rd. And then I also loaded that data into the ProEdge CRM, Smarties CRM. And I sent email and I sent text messages and ringless voicemail to the ones that aren't on the DNC about the fact that, hey, your neighbor's property is pending under contract. This impacts the value, blah, blah, blah. So yes. Now Shay's tech stack is a little bit different, but like, Shay has also used KV Core to import that data. And maybe that's still what Shay's doing. I'm not.
That's exactly what I'm doing. So. I plug it into KV Core, load it in, and I create my own follow-up campaigns, and I make sure that at least every other touch via text or email is a video, just so they can get used to my personality. Because if they like my personality, great, it's building rapport. If they don't like my personality, honestly, I don't care. And it's better that you don't call me because I don't want to work with you because it's going to make it tougher anyway. So if you know me and like me, great. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have success. If you don't, fantastic. Unsubscribe. You're not hurting my feelings. I'm moving on. But I make all of my own follow-ups, and I take, some inspiration from what's in KV Core and Tom Ferry and Mike Ferry and a million other different, giants in the industry for inspiration, as well as Google Gemini. Don't sleep on Google Gemini. There's a whole lot there.
Yeah. Oh, Gemini is sweet. And
I don't do Chat GPT. I went straight to Google Gemini, and honestly, I've been nothing but happy with it. I mean, don't have it write contracts for you or anything crazy, but for inspiration and you being at the wheel and putting it in, it's fantastic for inspiration and things like that. And then just following up with people and setting it up to be assertive without overly aggressive, and just make sure that you know your audience and what they're feeling, and have your message meet them where they're at.
This is a whole, I think we might have to do a topic on this, but the Gemini thing, if you download the app and use the Gemini Live, you can have a conversation with it, and it can be if you need an accountability partner, for example, to hold yourself accountable to maybe following Shay's process of reaching out to, 10, 20, 50 new, high to very high foreclosure factor homeowners in your market. You can employ Gemini Live to help with that.
Hey, Shay,
Yeah.
would you be open to sharing some of those campaign in KV Core?
Yeah.
My
Let
question
me know
exactly.
because mine are very specific. I create them for the scenario, but yeah, I'd be happy to help. Let me know like what you're looking for, and I'm happy to send that over to you.
I'll reach out on Workplace because you can share. There's a token you can just share, and it just shares the whole campaign.
Shay, are
Okay,
you with
do me a
EXP?
favor. I'm not nearly on Workplace like I need to be. I'll put my email address in here.
You're with EXP, Shay?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. All right.
Shoot it there, and I'll get you taken care of, brother.
Right on. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Anytime.
Hey, you guys have a happy holiday and good new year, man. We'll see you guys next year.
Yes, I was just going to say the same. I appreciate everybody being here. I look forward to a very prosperous 2025. Keep your eyes and ears open for the special project that I'm working on that I'm excited to share with you guys in the next couple of days. And we'll see y'all back, hopefully see y'all back here January 8th, same time, same place.
Thanks, guys, for everything.
Take care, all.
Later.
Thank you.